One of my most anticipated shows of the year is finally over, and it's time to give my full review for Season 1. But I should have just reviewed every single episode, because damn, this was something incredible. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to my review of Season 1 for Watchmen, one of my most anticipated shows for the year. Again, if you guys are new here, make sure to get in the comment down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this show. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? And of course, what I'm going to do a little bit interesting here is if you haven't watched the show yet, I'm going to be very hesitant on spoilers talking about them in the review. I'm basically just getting my overall thoughts and what I thought about the whole Watchmen series, but do understand I will mention a couple plot points here and there. So if you haven't seen the series and you're very hesitant about any spoilers, do be warned. Doesn't mean I'm going to get into every spoiler, but in general, the best place that we're going to discuss it, though, is down below in the comments. So again, make sure to comment down below and let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Comments, full spoilers ahead down there. I don't care. Just know that if you're kind of just on the edge, should I watch it, should I not, I am going to mention a couple things in here that could be spoilers for you or could not be. That's up to you. And of course, if you guys are new here, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well, because these TV reviews I do are a little bit more laid back than my movie reviews. I don't care if I have to cut it up so much. I just want to have a great discussion with you guys like you guys are here right in front of me, but instead I'm talking to my camera. So Watchmen, it's set in an alternate history where masked vigilantes are treated as outlaws. Watchmen embraces the nostalgia of the original groundbreaking graphic novel of the same name while attempting to break new ground of its own. That was written by HBO as a synopsis, and I actually really like that synopsis, because when you hear Damon Lindelof, who created Lost, a show that I very much love, but also he created The Leftovers, 3 seasons, which I think The Leftovers is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's almost near perfect. And Lindelof did something so great with that, where in the first season he really much did the source material, and then the next 2 seasons were his own creation. Which, in my favor, I love the last 2 seasons way more than the first season. I actually think the last 2 seasons are masterpieces. Like, absolutely fell in love with each and every one of them. Very slow burn of a show, but one that kept me so intrigued the whole time. And a lot of that goes to Lindelof's not directing, but writing per se. And with Watchmen, that's why I was so excited for it, because Watchmen, the graphic novels, it's hands down one of the best, if not the best graphic novel of all time. Like, of all time, the characters, the satire, the outlook on Earth and its perspective to our history, there's so many intriguing things to it. And when you hear that they're gonna make a sequel, but it's not gonna be a comic book, it's gonna be a show, I got a little hesitant. And I know my friend, give big shout out to John the Real Talk, go check out his YouTube channel. Big fan of Watchmen himself. He always told me that this was a show that he was very hesitant about. And for good word, because, you know, I love the Ultimate Edition of Watchmen the movie. I think Zack Snyder did such a fascinating and fantastic job with that movie. But the thing is, it is different than the graphic novel. And the graphic novel is still the better story to be told in that. So when you're telling that there's going to be a sequel series, well, how's that going to turn out? It turned out pretty damn well. If not, I would probably say this is my favorite television show of the year. And it's actually might be making it into my top 10 favorite television shows of all time. This is such a precise, cohesively perfect, and poignant series that at the same time kept me intrigued, locked in, and fallen in love with every single aspect of this show. And there's something to each episode in the way that it is developed, to the way that the story is told, and the way that the pacing is told throughout it. Each episode flies by. Each episode paces it through, and the way that they reveal certain elements of the story to certain characters are some of the most precise and most intriguing things that I have ever seen in television before. Because it's just like it's unraveling, and the way that the puzzle pieces start to form and fit in make it all feel like it is perfectly there. And it's one of the things that at the same time locks you in emotionally, and also locks you in very heavily within all the thoughts of what could be going on in here. Elements like that actually make me fall more in love with the show the more that I think about it. And when the show ended tonight, my jaw hit the floor. I was kind of almost in tears with how much I was in love with the show. And I went, man, I know Lindelof said this is only going to be 1 season, but man, I really want more inside this world. I love the Watchmen world itself. And the many revelations that you figure out throughout this, whether it's with Don Johnson's character, whether it's what you start to learn about Regina King's character, and even leading in to Dr. Manhattan himself. Now, we all knew he was coming some way, shape, or form. I didn't expect for them what they did with him in this series. And it was heartbreaking. It was devastating. Episode 8, A God Walks Into a Bar, is near perfection. And I mean that in any series. The last 3 episodes are perfect. You have an almost religious awe, a God walks into a bar, and see how they fly. Perfection. And I would actually go as far to say almost every single episode in here was perfection. There was not one bit of slow pacing for me. There was not one bit of intrigue that was left behind. I felt intrigued the whole entire time. And one thing that you must give that a major shout out to is the composer of this, which goes to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, who honestly have been creating some of the best scores of this last decade. This adds to it. The score for here is something that I want to listen to every single day in my car because it is awesome. And just how it adds to every single layer of the show. And even though it switches up quite a bit depending on which character you happen to go about with and start to watch, it feels so seamless that it's quite perfection at times. I want to say this, Jeremy Irons as Adrian Veidt is one of the best casting that you could have ever done for an older character to take from the comics, because he really is embracing who that character is and doing him with such love and passion. And when you find out some of the revelations about him and where he is at and how that ties into the whole overall narrative, it is quite impressive. And that's what goes back to Lindelof's writing so well, is how he is able to fit these puzzle pieces perfectly entwined. Because as you watch the show again, you might get a cliffhanger at the end of one episode, but it might not jump right back into that. It might decide to focus on another character and maybe their backstory just a bit, especially when it gets to Hooded Justice, which the episode when it gets all into Hooded Justice backstory, perfect. Perfect. I was absolutely shocked and stunned by that whole entire episode and every single one of the sequences. There's a couple action sequences in here as well that throughout the whole entire show that are absolutely jaw-dropping. One that happens to be in the God walks into a bar right at the end, just bam, wow. Maybe I'm just geeking out so much because I love the Watchmen comic that well, but I'm just so embraced and just so fallen in love with what Lindelof has created in here. And the way that I was so worried before, I can't be worried anymore. I want to see what this guy does next, whether it's more Watchmen content or not. But if it's not him doing the next season of Watchmen, if HBO decides to go along with it, I would probably say they shouldn't, unless you have another fantastic writer. Create another season if you want to, if there's a story to be told. But the way that the season ended, while I feel like there are a couple questions here and there, it's ones that I want to ponder on, and ones that leave me awake feeling satisfied, while at the same time devastated because of how much I love the Watchmen world. This is a fantastic series. One that is, again, locks you in with fantastic action set pieces, but also takes the time with each and every character, and takes its time with the story that is truly just a giant puzzle that you're filling in the edges all the way around, and just getting closer and closer to finishing them by the last episode. And maybe there are a couple puzzle pieces missing here and there, but overall you feel very satisfied and very emotionally wrapped. Truly, the only things I actually wanted to know other inside the show was just some more of the backstory between a lot of the characters and what has been going on between this time. Because there's squids falling from the sky, and I wanted more of that. What happened with all that evolutions? And of course, there's other characters that we want to hear more about. But I love how what happened with him at the end of the comic, and how it dives into here. How you dive into all the characters and the projection of what a legend could do to certain people and how it could rise them above. It's elements like this that make you so fascinating, and how it wraps around, and how Watchmen at the time was a satire into our world and other superheroes, and it still is even in today's society. And it's more relevant than ever. Now I actually want to make a video essay on Watchmen. I might do that. Of course, guys, before I get to my final thoughts on Watchmen Season 1, make sure to comment down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below in the comments, guys. If you can't tell, I'm absolutely in love with this show. And, of course, if you guys are new here, make sure to go over to Sandwich on Films on how to see films early. And a big thank you to you and a big thank you to my Patreon supporters, because without you, I wouldn't be able to do this. So, Watchmen Season 1. What a fantastic bit of cinema on here. I absolutely fell in love with every single bit of this. Regina King is great. Abdul-Mateen II as Chau is fantastic. Sara Vickers, great. Jeremy Irons, fantastic. You kind of jump into every single bit of this, and two of the characters that I haven't even gotten to mention yet was Laura Blake and Looking Glass. My God, what a fantastic performance Tim Blake Nelson gave in here, and also to Jean Smart. Two fantastic actors and actresses who really gave a lot to their roles, and really, man, Looking Glass became one of my favorite characters throughout this whole entire season. There's so many revelations, and again, it's that puzzle piece that you're starting to fill out throughout the whole entirety of it. I love this show. I love the revelations of how they brought in the whole culture of Watchmen, how they bring in a lot of these Easter eggs, and how they bring back some of the characters from the original comic in such a perfect iteration. Especially what they did with Dr. Manhattan. Flippin' brilliant. And it actually works for his character. Watchmen is not just one of the best television series of this year, it's also one of the best television shows of all time. I absolutely love this. It's a perfect sequel to the original graphic novel, and if this is it for Watchmen, I'm fine with it. But I have to be honest, I would love to see more of it. So with all that said, I'm going to give Watchmen an A+. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on Watchmen. Did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let's discuss it down below in the comments, guys. Full spoilers down there, so watch out. If you haven't seen the series, I'd probably be careful with the comments. Close your eyes, leave a comment. Go watch the show and come back and let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Again, guys, look out for an early review of Rise of Skywalker this week. It's coming out very soon. And I will also have an early review of Cats. Yeah, Cats. But still, I know you guys are more excited about Star Wars. So thank you guys again so much for clicking on this. Go support all the other videos. Thank you to all of you guys again. And of course, until next time, stay classy.